order then, and we'll turn it over to Dr. Howard for her comments.
Okay, thank you all for joining us this morning. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen in case you don't have Assembly pulled up, and make sure that you can see what we're discussing, and that may throw you over to the right or throw your screen, your gallery over to the right. But before we talk about the action item before us today, I just want to update the board a little bit. We do have a work session next Thursday, and looking forward to that. I want to send a very sincere shout out to our high school leaders who have worked very hard to try to do everything in our power to honor our graduating class of 2020. And so we'll talk a little bit further about this next week, but right now our tentative plan is for each community to have the equivalent of kind of a graduation parade on the date of their actual graduation. They've created really good plans. They're going to stay in their cars, but at East Jackson High School, the students are going to arrive at East Jackson High at between 7 and 7:15 with their cars decorated. They're going to stay in their cars, and then they're going to basically kind of do a drive-through salute, and the teachers will be alongside, socially distanced, and celebrate them. And then they will travel with police escort from our sheriff's department from there to East Middle and do a drive-through, and then they will disperse into three directions. They'll either go to Maysville if that's where they attended, East Elementary, or South Jackson, and those kids will then see their teachers at the elementary when they get there, so they'll have a drive-through back at their elementary school as well. So I think that's a great salute to those kids. And a similar format at Jackson County High School, but instead they're going to come to Jackson County High School, and they're going to have all of the elementary, middle, and high school teachers lining the drive there, and they're going to have a window from 6 to 7 on Friday, May 22nd. And so they'll do it in a similar manner, but drive through. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Cronick just texted and said he's in another meeting right now. He'll join us in just a minute. So anyway.
Right. Let me just ask about that graduation. So it's the same date for Jackson County High School?
It's Thursday, May 21st for East Jackson, and it is Friday, May 22nd for Jackson County. It's the same day as their original graduation was scheduled. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
And then we're trying to kind of keep it a secret since it's only us on the, although this is being recorded. But anyway, we are going to have buses rolling next Tuesday at 2:30 from East Jackson High School and from Jackson County. And we have 8 to 10 teachers and administrators per bus that are going to go and deliver yard signs to all of our graduating seniors. So we're going to go to every single, every kid's house and kind of do a, celebration in their yard and then go to the next one. So we are trying hard to celebrate those kids. And I think that our high school leaders have done a great job of trying to honor them. So that's the update from there. We're working hard, and we'll share more with you next Thursday to make sure that we have an appropriate plan for school closure. We're going to be sharing some stuff this weekend to, how kids can turn in items, how they can pick up any items that were left at the school, how they can safely. We're going to be doing drive-through pickups and things like that. So lots of plans going into that. So. Other than that, as you know, we've also continued to work on all the projects. Sending another shout out to Josh and his team. They've done an amazing amount of work since the schools have been vacated. One of the things they've been able to do is to do some renovations at Gordon Street and done those very conservatively because we've done it all in-house with our folks. But we'll have alternative school ready in B16, and they have finished and remodeled the old cafeteria for a large meeting space. So that's going to have tremendous promise. In fact, at some point, when we all have a chance to return and we tour that may be a place that we want to consider having our board meetings in the future, because it's that they've done a great job with it, but thanks to them. So we're still working hard and making lots of progress, just doing different work. So that's all we have other than the many projects that are going on. And Ted and Josh and several of us were on the bid tabulation process last Friday and got a lot of interest in the East Middle project. And I'm going to ask Ted and Josh if they'd like to speak to board recommendation. I know that Mr. Clarsey asked a great question, and we had some revision yesterday, and there's a revised board recommendation. But Mr. Gilbert, do you want to share anything, or Josh, about the process?
Yeah, I'll be glad to. I do appreciate all the questions that we had. Mr. Clarsey had some, Mr. Hollett, and Mr. Clarsey found a error I had made in the. It's not on the guaranteed maximum price side. It was on the architectural cost for the budget, and I had a carryover number in there. So I did a revised recommendation. The only thing that changed was the architectural engineering amount, which of course changed the total project cost. It went down, I guess around, I don't have it in front of me, maybe
about 70. Yeah, about
170,
yeah.
90,000, whatever it was. But so there was no change, just to emphasize that Carroll Daniel guaranteed maximum price, which is the essence of the recommendation, remained the same. But the budget itself that we use SPLOST funds for was adjusted. And I hope that the answers to the questions were helpful. They were good questions, and I hope that brought to light, much of the process that we went through. We had this East Jackson project, as you know, is designed as a very, very similar, almost identical to the West Jackson project, and we headed that way. And then we came into this new era we're living in now, along with enrollment projections that were climbing pretty steadily as we met in early March. So based on that meeting and the adjustments that you asked us to do, we moved from what was about a $9.7 million project down to about a $5.1 million. So I think we hit our target with a lot of good work from team members. So with that, we're asking you to approve the guaranteed maximum price of $4,167,553 and the appropriate level of SPLOST funding that's needed to support that. And I will add one other comment, and that's that as we're doing this morning in this kind of a process under Zoom, we did the exact same thing last Friday on the bid day. It's important that you have public process through it. And so we asked Carroll Daniel to make those adjustments. They're all working from home, as we are most of the days. And they did a really fine job of, as they opened and read, and it wasn't quite an opening. Most everybody sent things in electronically because of the coronavirus situation. They opened, filled out the bid tabs, and posted them immediately. So we and any subcontractor or supplier that was interested had the chance to watch it live on the screen as those numbers came in. So we appreciate them doing that, and I'm sure everybody has made those kinds of adjustments these days. So if the board approves this process, we'll start immediately. First order of business is ordering the long lead time items that we need, and then we'll be underway. And I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Just as for the board's purposes, Mr. Cronick has joined us, so thank you and welcome, Mr. Cronick. And I wanted to also clarify, it's a $103,000 difference in what the first recommendation and the second one difference. And as Ted said, it doesn't change the guaranteed maximum price, but it does adjust that. And Mr. Clarsey asked a great question earlier that we did pay for this full scale renovation. And so we'll have those documents. It's already been done. And if at some point in the near future, we're able to go back and do the full scale renovation, we'll already have those drawings done. So those will become the ownership of the Jackson County Board of Education. So that's good. So
also, it might be good if Mr. Patton could share a little bit about, he's really been intimate with this project all along, but the work that's been done there in the last few weeks.
I don't know if I've messed up your mic or not, so.
I'll mute. Go ahead.
So we did go ahead and start painting. We're doing that not in the project. Is it still feedback? Yeah. Sorry, we're getting all the feedback there.
Speakers that are giving the feedback.
I'll try it on. Just
Josh is going to just come join us when we have 3 folks in one room who are on the same Zoom meeting. Here, Josh. The chair there. It's okay. I'm not scared. Josh, since we're here, why don't you tell them too a little bit about the improvements? I mentioned some, but what you're doing in Gordon Street.
Hi, everybody. That's so weird. So we are going ahead and painting at East Middle now. Of course, we had a perfect opportunity with an empty building. So all the commons areas, all the outside metal, and we're really close to being done on that already. The bathroom floors, we upgraded those. Everything looks great in there. So it's a big improvement for it. As Dr. Howard mentioned earlier, Gordon Street, the cafeteria renovation, and then we finished off a room on B Hall for our student support services as well. So all that's ready to go.
So any questions or any curious?
What did Josh say about the floors at East Middle? What did you say you did with those?
So we redid the restroom floors.
Okay.
And sealed them off. I don't know if you remember, they had the, we all call it the McDonald's towel.
Yeah.
So we sealed those off, and we've had really good luck on doing that, and it helps with odors and keeps them clean.
Yeah. Perfect time to do it.
It was.
Yeah.
Ronnie, do you have sound yet? Oh, he's not hearing me. Mr. Cronick texted me and said he didn't have any sound. I was trying to make sure he was able to get what he needed. Ooh. Sorry about that. I'm trying to help Mr. Cronick. It says he's connecting to audio. While he's working on that, are there any other questions about the board recommendation?
Well,
No.
hearing none, are we ready to? What?
I've been sitting here just looking at y'all. I had no sound.
We can hear you now.
All right, good.
Do we need to recap something for Michael then?
Yeah, just a little short rundown would be nice. Sorry, I was on another call.
No worries. Ted kind of presented, and Ted, I don't know if you want to go back through that again. The board recommendation is in there. Mr. Cronick, Ted, you want to speak to it again? I don't want to step on.
I'll be glad to. I'll give you the brief version that we did have all of our bids were received by Carroll Daniel last Friday. They did it in a public format and provided pretty close to live bid tabulations for everyone watching. It came in at a good price, less than we had anticipated. But I did mention that we had one number that was wrong in the overall budget, and that was architectural engineering. Mr. Clarissy pointed that out to me. I'm glad he found it. And I had a carryover number from a former spreadsheet in there. So the number you have in the revised architectural engineering is correct. And the total project cost went down a little over $100,000. The recommendation itself for the guaranteed maximum price of $4,167,553 for Carroll Daniel, and the SPLOST funding remained the same. There were no changes there.
Okay.
And because we modified the scope of this work, we do retain possession of all of those drawings. So if at some point the board and we decide to go back and do full-scale renovations there, we'll already have that architectural work done. So we can use those drawings.
All right.
Okay. Ms. Wheeler?
Are we ready Are we ready for a vote? Are there any more questions or discussion at this time? All right, well, hearing none, do I have a motion that we accept the recommendation to approve the GMP for East Jackson Middle School? Y'all hear me? Do I have a recommendation that we accept it? A motion that we accept?
Can you hear me, Lynn?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
What did you say though?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you make the motion. Do I have a second?
Motion.
Great. Okay, do I have a second? Anybody else?
Second.
Okay, Carol, second. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much. And I don't suppose there's anything else that we need to discuss at this time, except that we'll just gather again with Zoom on May the 11th.
Yes, ma'am. We, just as a notification, we are scheduled for an executive session. I'd like to take just a few minutes and I will create a separate room for just the board to go into in Zoom to discuss planning for how we are going to address what we expect to be a 10 to 15% state budget cut. So that will be a personnel discussion. So we'll take that to executive session, but that just so that when you see that on the agenda, you'll know what the executive session is about.
Will that be at the beginning or the end?
I'd like to do it at the end if we can, just simply
Okay.
so that staff can go ahead and go through their part and then we can stay and have a short conversation about personnel.
Okay, all right.
All right,
That sounds
very
good.
good.
Y'all all have a good day and we stand adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Bye all.
Appreciate
Thank y'all.
everybody.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.